So let's continue with the next section in managing Jenkins. So we will just now we will start with the manage plugins option in manage Jenkins. Let's go to manage Jenkins and then we'll move to manage plugins part. Just click on it. Now here we can see all the plugins which are already installed, and they have they may need an update. So if you feel so, you can just go ahead, like suppose you are just checking for this git client plugin, and we can see the already installed version is 2.3.0, and if you feel you want to upgrade, or there is a requirement to upgrade your plugin, just go ahead, select this checkbox and just click on it, download now and install with restart. But I would suggest whatever is working, you should not try to disturb the configuration, because sometimes it happens like some plugins have some dependent plugins and it changes the configurations of other plugins, so which may cause some weird issues or unknown issues in Jenkins. So let's go to this is the update section. So if we go to available shows what all plugins that or the total plugins that is available in Jenkins. So for today here we will start with installing a new plugin which is not there in Jenkins. Means in our Jenkins we have not used that or not installed that. So we will try installing that from available sections. So simply simply we have a plugin name called job configuration history plugin. So with that plugin we can see the history of configuration changes in your job or your slave agent machines. So for getting that in our job as an option, or just getting that option in our current Jenkins, we need to install that. So filter this is the part where you need to search for the keywords. So you can just type config. If we see still it is loading, okay, let's wait for it. So as we can see, when I type config, it has shown various options which is available with the keyword search config. I cannot find that particular plugin with this keyword. Maybe just let me try history. SDORY history. Yes, so I got it. So I want this job configuration history plugin. Just select this checkbox and it will download or install the version 2.15. Install without restart. So we can see it has installed various other dependent plugins which are needed for the job configuration history plugin. Okay, so our plugin is done. So yes, see here we can see a tab now, job configuration history. So if we click here, we can see still see some options only. Let me so as and when we change the configurations, we can see the configurations here. Or just let me go to some job. So here also we can see the history of the job. So as of now we will not see the changes, because after installing the plugin, then only if we do some changes, it will be able to detect that. So as of now there is no job configuration history available. Okay, so let's move on to our manage plugins part. So we have seen updates, we have seen available tabs. Now we will see the install tab. Install tab lists all the plugins which are already installed with our Jenkins server, or in our Jenkins server. So let's go to the install tab. So okay, so here we can see we have already installed, like while installing Jenkins, if you've seen if you have gone through my previous tutorials, we have selected the option like Jenkins will install itself all the plugins which it seems it may require, or the basic plugins the Jenkins installs with itself when we select the option like by default install the plugins. So these are the installed plugins. It is the version, and here if you want to uninstall, you can just click on it, uninstall, and it will uninstall the same. Now let's move on to advanced tab. This is the most important part of you can say uh, manage plugin. So suppose so this is the configuration of the server and all, if you are running behind a proxy and all. So as we have not set up any proxy, so making it simple, no need of these things, just move on here. So suppose you need the to you need some particular version of the plugin which you need to use for your project or job, then you can manually download it. Like suppose let's check for some, okay, suppose check for, like, let's check for some Jenkins plugin repo repository. So you have to search for the Jenkins plugin repository, uh, and from there you can get the list of all the various plugins and various version. So that particular version you can manually install using this method which I am showing now. So let's check this backup one. So suppose now if you go to available part, let me go that also. Go to manage Jenkins, manage plugin. So we need backup plugin, BACK UP. Okay, as we have not installed, so in the update it's not showing updated, so we need to search that in the available section. Still it is loading. Let it load. Okay, now I think we can search for backup plugin. CKUP. It's CKU. Okay, as we see, we are able to install only the because in the options we can see only version 1.6.1 which is installable. So and it is not installed in our Jenkins server already. So we our project requires some other version, or suppose we are facing some issue with this particular version of the plugin, then we can just download the previous versions. Suppose we want 1.4, and we seem that it seems that it is working fine. So we can just download the backup.hpi. See, this is the all the plugins are stored in HPI format. So now for installing it manually, you need to go to upload plugin part. Here you can see they have mentioned you can upload HPI file to install plugin from outside. So just choose the file from here, the one which we have downloaded. Just select it and you can upload. See, we can see it is still pending. It is installing now, installing the backup plugin. Okay, so it is installed now. Okay, so we have covered the installation part now of advanced also. You can update your site by this also, like this is the URL for which will update the JSON. All the updates are stored in the JSON format, and you can just submit and it will do that. So all the information is updated just 15 seconds back, we can see. So plugin manager part is also complete. Let's move to some other section. What we need to do, add, remove and update plugin. This is done. Reload configuration was already done. And let's go to system information part. So again we need to go to manage Jenkins and go to system log part, system information. Okay, so we can see the system information part here. Just click on it. System information part, it shows all the details where the Jenkins server is hosted, which include which Java version it has, it is running on, which is the OS version on which Jenkins server is installed or running, which is the Tomcat version, all the environment variables set, Java home, number of processors uh, of the platform on which it is in being hosted, and a number of thread dump of the master, remote agents, etc. And each and every minute details will be shown here. So we can see Catalina base home, Catalina home, Catalina. Then it can see the file separator, Java class version, Java home. It is using means the Jenkins Java runtime, version, then Java specific version, then you can see VM info, Java vendor who is the provider of the Java, and JNA load. We can see many other things. Then all the environment variables being set for the current Jenkins, like you can see these are the variables which Jenkins has set on its own. Catalina base home, and then Java home, then Java ops, JRE home, local app data, OS path, program files, program data, all the variables it shows here. Then the plugins it is using, which version is there, is it enabled or not. And for the thread dumps also it can show. Just you just need to visit this, just click on this page for the thread dumps, and you can see all the thread dumps of the all the agents connected. So here you need to check for the particular keyword, like whether it is in waiting mode and those things. For knowing thread dumps you need to know various other locking things, and so that you can understand where the process, where the loop is being logged, or where in the process are stuck or thread is stuck. So all these things you can come to know that they are later about thread, or you can just go through the thread dumps from Google, what does it mean and all. So basically we get plugin information, which version is the, and all the other details of the current Jenkins with server, environment variables being set, and various system properties. So system information is also completed. Let's move to system log part. System log basically displays nothing, but it just displays the current log of the Jenkins server. So let's go to the system log here, click on it, and you can see, just click on this, and you can see when it was started, today, and the list of all the plugins and various other things started, all plugins, and where or what exception we got in Jenkins. We can see these attempt to reconnect the Windows. So these agents I have not connected to the Windows agent, so it is still attempting to connect that. Then the various things it has done for making the Jenkins up and currently running, and what all issues it is facing, those everything will be shown here. And here are the different levels. You can see all severe warning. If you want all, just click all, and you can see the, okay. Now loads, system log is also done. So let's move to load statistics. So what does load statistic mean? Load statistics, by the term itself, you'll come to know, like it is related to load, and it will show some stats on the same. So graphically representation of the Jenkins load, like how busy the Jenkins is, or it gives a good idea of how or what is the infrastructure we need, and how many nodes we need for the Jenkins, or the is the Jenkins server too much busy or idle. Those things we can come to know from here. So let's go here and just click on load statistics, so we can know how much our Jenkins server is utilized, or uh, those things you can come to know from here. So this is the graph which will show, as we don't have any job running as of now, and we are running very low. Uh, uh, we are just creating very light process jobs like echo and all, which are running only echo commands and all. So we don't see any complex graph for this. These are the various parameters on which the graph is based, and we can understand the more complexity from here, like how much resources are being utilized, or how much means how many executors are busy, how many are idle, what is the queue length. So everything it can we can see from this graph, by understanding this graph. So let's move on to different section, that is script console. Now Jenkins has this script console in which we can run our Groovy scripts. Groovy is a different kind of script. You can just Google it for more information in it. Uh, let's move to Groovy part. Let me dismiss all this. Okay. So let's move to this script console. There's a script console. Just click on it. So here basically you can run your you can write your Groovy scripts, and you can test here by just clicking on run. So let me show you how it will look, right. Print ln. So you can see it is showing like the Groovy I have typed is not correct. So uh, you can just simply so whatever you write in the Groovy scripts here and run it, it will run on the server. So let me check some Groovy scripts, as I am also not aware of the Groovy scripts and all. Sample Groovy script to print echo. So just run it. So now we see there is no error and all displayed. So it seems it's okay. It means the Groovy script is okay. So let's further move on. This is not that much important part in Jenkins. For learning Groovy, you need to be familiar with the more advanced architecture of the Jenkins. You can run it from the Jenkins ebook for more details on it. So let's move on to the next section, that is manage node. Though I have covered this earlier while creating slaves, just let me go through it briefly. Just when you go to the manage nodes, just click on it. So here we can see various other options. These are all our slaves created or agents created. So we can refresh the status from here. It will show the architecture of the machine, like which OS is hosted, and those things, what is the clock difference, if it is there, how much free disk space is there, how much free swap space is there, how much temp space is there, and various other things, and what is the response time. So you can just for creating you can create nodes, you can delete nodes, you can do whatever you like from here. Just if you want to delete node, just go to the node and you can delete the agent from here. You can see the logs, so various other things. So node is basically used for checking the various configurations of the agents or nodes you have created, deleting the node, updating the node with other configurations or different kind of things. Here you can specify the in the configuration section, like how much should be the free disk space threshold you want, or how much is the free temp space threshold you want. By default it is 1 GB. So by this you mean if you don't know anything, just click on the question mark and you will come to know. This option configures the amount of minimum amount of disk space is desired for an agent operation. So the for the agent to work properly, these are the thresholds which is required and which is set by you. If you don't set this, it will be marking itself as offline or show abnormal behaviors. So we have covered the manage node section also. So for more details on it, you can just check my tutorials on creating Jenkins agent, Windows and Linux. Let's go to manage user part now. Yeah, before that, I'll just tell you briefly about Jenkins CLI. So Jenkins CLI is basically you can access the access your manage Jenkins using your own scripts. So this is further higher into advanced Jenkins, or you should know the full architecture of the Jenkins. So these are the available commands which you can use with your scripts. So this copy job, this copy is a job, console retrieves console output. So these all can be scripted with the help of these commands. So these are the available commands you should be having, you should be knowing about while using Jenkins as a command. See, here also we can get basic information from here. You can access various features in Jenkins through a command line tool. So all the whatever we have done through the GUI interface, we can also do it through backend using command line. So we have covered this also. Let me go to the next part which we were discussing earlier, which is the manage user. From yeah, before going to it, let's about Jenkins, you can just click on this and you can see the licensing version and various other details of our current Jenkins. What all are the libraries dependent, uh, and various other details about Jenkins. Now let's move on to the section here, manage users. So this is basically used for creating, deleting the users. So you let's go through what is this. These are the these users can log in into the Jenkins. This is a set of lists which also contains auto created users who really just make some commits on projects. So as I have only one user, Amrit, it is displaying only the only one. If suppose you want to create more, you can just go to this option, create a test user, tst 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 @gmail.com. You can just create a user with the help of this. So we can see create user also here. Now it's showing it's not having access or proper access. So just go to here. You can fill the various details and all. I'm just skipping it because we are doing it only for our tutorial purpose, or just to make it simple. So test user is created. And if you go here, so these all are used using Jenkins own user database. If you have done through Active Directory, you will see lot of many other users which will be displayed through Active Directory server. So we can see here there is no cross, here there is cross because it is not having the proper permissions. For permissions, again, you know how we gave it last time, just a few minutes back. So just go to configure global security. This time we'll give the test user only and only read access, so that he is able to read and he is not able to configure the various things, so that we can also cover this part, like how to manage the security part. Just go here, add the test user. Yes, let's give only read and view. Not view also, we can give read. Okay, so let's move it to say and save it. So here we given various only read access and view access to our test user. So I'll just log out and I'll show the difference. So we have logged in a test user. We can see everything, like, see, but I'll not be able to trigger any build because I see do not have option to build. I can view the option, I can view the logs because I have set the permissions and all for that, but I cannot trigger here. Also I have not given access for managing Jenkins, so if he cannot see, the user test cannot see the manage Jenkins option. Then if you go master, you cannot see any configure option for this test user here. If I want to use this, you can launch it, but you cannot you cannot configure the or change the configurations of the slave also. So it is a test user is having only read access. Let me get back to my admin access so that we can proceed further with our tutorial. We see now, see the difference. We can see manage Jenkins. If you go here, I can uh, I can build the I can build the project, I can configure it, I can see the history and all. Okay, so let's move on further. This is also done. So the scripts you wrote, whatever is here, the in the script console, for that is the groovy scripts. It can be like we can provide a process in which the those scripts should be approved by the Jenkins admin. Otherwise, if a user write anything which may disturb the configurations of the Jenkins and make it down or crash it, so we can have a Jenkins admin who can approve all the scripts from here. So that is done in the process of like in this part, like in process script approval. See, here they mention allow Jenkins administrator to review proposed scripts. Return example in Ruby which run inside the Jenkins process, so could bypass security restrictions. So here you can provide approvals. As of now we didn't write any scripts, and there is no so there is nothing to approve it. You can clear the approvals from here, etc. So let's move on to this backup manager. It backups all the configuration of the Jenkins. So backup Hudson means see in this with this option will back up all the it will create a tar of all the uh, of the Jenkins configuration and store it somewhere so that you can restore it and you can use it if suppose your Jenkins crasher or somehow Jenkins is affected and it's not up and running. You can just extract this tar which it has produced, and you can run on any Jenkins server and you can get all the same configurations with the jobs, slaves, extra same thing up and running on another Jenkins server. होता है जब आदमी को अपना ज्ञान कहलाया। So we can see now like Jenkins is going to shut down and it has taken the backup at this location. So let's check the backup is done or not. So we can see the tar here. If you extract it, we can see what all it has taken the backup. See, we can see all the plugins, these all the same folders which are there in the dot Jenkins, where the dot Jenkins means, let me show you. In where the Jenkins keep it all its files and folders. So we can see the Jenkins home directory was C users and dot Jenkins. So inside this, whatever the content is there inside the folder dot Jenkins, everything will be taken as backup and stored at this location. So let me cancel it for now because we don't need the backup. So we can see like it has config, credentials, so all these things which are there in the .jenkins, it has copied here. So once the backup is taken, it is Jenkins will shut down. Once the backup is taken, Jenkins will shut down, and uh, we can just copy the tar or the whatever is created, and we can export it there in the another Jenkins workspace, and then we need to just go to manage and restore Hudson configuration. So when you click on this, it will restore all the configuration changes. So setup, you need to see setup. You can see what it is backing up. So these are the directory which is by default it is backing up from here. If you want to change the format, you can change it from tar to zip, etc. and all. And the backup directory you can mention in by default it is in the Tomcat bin. It will create a null folder there. It is there. If you want to some other location, you can specify it here. And whatever you want to copy or backup more, you can just mention here. While restoring uh, the same things whatever is exported in the form of tar or zip, it will just unzip and it will take the those things and put it in your .jenkins folder, so that you can extract it from there, and all the Jenkins configuration whatever was there in the previous or old Jenkins which you stopped or you wanted to migrate, so it will take all those things from there and make the Jenkins up exactly the same way which was running in the old Jenkins. So backup manager is also complete. Let's move on to prepare to shut down. So for this what it does is like it will safely shut down the Jenkins. It will stop executing the new builds whatever it is there. It will kill those builds, and so that the Jenkins can be eventually shut down safely. So once you click that, it will just wait for some time. It will kill all the process all the running jobs, and it will make the Jenkins down or shut it down. So we can see the displayed message here, Jenkins is shutting down. So as of now I don't want it, just if you want in case, just proceed with it. So I'll cancel it. So we can see the message is gone and my Jenkins is still there. So we have completed the managing Jenkins part, manage Jenkins part. and I'll share everything in the my PowerPoint slides about all the options available for in manage Jenkins, what all we can do, those things, whatever we have seen in the video, I'll share it. I'll create a PowerPoint slides and PowerPoint PPT, and in that I'll mention this basic steps to follow and what all we can do and those things. Thanks for watching the tutorial. Be tuned for the next upcoming tutorial.